well done for being here because it shows that you have taken action on improving your life. Most people that drink or take drugs or engage in a different habit or behavior that's not serving their lives don't even take the time to acknowledge that and let alone take action on it. So whatever happens today, you being here and watching this now is a win. That is you taking action. So well done. So this short video, I want to explain to you exactly how to get yourself out of this situation. What do you need to do to change your habits and improve your life? Now, not only is what I'm going to tell you today applicable from my own journey, but from the hundreds of people that I have coached out of it. And I believe that this is exactly what I believe you deserve and what I wish I had had when I was in that state where I felt hopeless, I felt overwhelmed, and I felt scared. And if you're watching now and you feel the same, trust me, this is going to really help. So maybe you're new to my page, maybe you don't know who I am, so I'm going to quickly explain. I was probably no different to you. I had a good job, I had some good friends, but alcohol, and especially cocaine, was ruining my life. It was affecting my mental health. I was spending far more money than I can afford to spend, and it was destroying the relationships around me. Now, for so long, I used to think cocaine is the problem. Cocaine is what's ruining my life. How can I find a way to just moderate my drinking and not buy that bag? But I spent years trying that and nothing worked. Sometimes it would. Sometimes I would go out, have a couple drinks, and there was something in my life that kept me accountable. And I didn't go to the extreme. And every time I did that, it made me think, oh, there can't be a problem here. If I've come home after 2 drinks, I don't have a problem. Because in our heads, we think of a problem as being an alcoholic or an addict or something to the extreme. Now, I was running a bar, so I was still drinking more often than I normally would, and probably more often than you, because I was there 5-6 days a week. And every time I drank, I wanted to do some coke. So I was doing it more and more often. And over time, that pushed me into a position where I had to make a decision. I had to take action on my situation. And it was that action that got me out of it. Now, when I got to the point after years of trying to figure this out, I decided I wanted to take a break. I didn't think about stopping forever because that was too scary. I thought, no, do you know what? I'm going to take a week. And back then, a week was a lot for me. I want to take a week with no alcohol, no cocaine, and no cigarettes as well, because I used to smoke a lot. And I remember after 2 days, I was trying to go back to it, but I managed to see it through. I got all the way to the end of the week, and by then I thought, I'm going to do another week. And after that second week, I went back to drinking for one night. And I woke up the next day and I thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. This is just destroying my mental health. I'm tired of feeling hungover. I'm tired of being on a come down. I'm tired of feeling ashamed or embarrassed. I'm just tired of it. And I thought, do you know what? It doesn't matter what the challenges are that are going to come from not drinking, but I have to give it a go. I have to find a way around them. And I remember then I said, that's it. Not drinking is my top priority. If anything else comes into conflict with that, it doesn't matter because it's not as high as my top priority. And I did it. And I sit here talking to you now, probably about 5 years and 3 months into it. No temptation, no cravings, no embarrassment, no guilt, no fear that I'm going to go back to it. Completely free. And I know that you can do it too because I've seen it. I have people speak to me every single day who are in the most hopeless, lost situations, so convinced that they cannot break out of it. And they do. And it's because we do not have the support necessary for people to do this. No one knows about this stuff. And if they do, they don't talk about it. And the reason being is because for some reason, we feel a lot of shame about stopping. But surely the shame and the guilt that I felt was because I was still doing it. When I change my actions and I improve my life, that shouldn't be shameful. That should be pride. I should feel proud about that. And I do. And that is exactly why, if you've come here from my social media, you can see I talk about this as a proud person. And I think it's not actually as hard as you might think it is. And a lot of this is down to our perceptions. It's what we think is going to happen and not actually looking at what happens when we do it. And especially if we do it in the right way. A lot of people will always stop drinking or try to stop doing cocaine and focus on how bad it was and use that as motivation, or use the fear of where you could be as motivation. Whereas it is far more effective to create in your head the life that you want, to be the person that you want, and we aim towards that. You're not trying to focus on the life you're trying to escape. You're focusing on the life you're trying to achieve. And trust me, you focus on the positives. You focus on how good you feel in the morning when you do not wake up hungover. You focus on how good you feel when you turn up for friends, or you do what you're going to say you're going to do, or you're honest with people. That is when you feel good, and it is that lifestyle you aim towards, and it works. And when I stopped, I was offered AA. And I thought, you know what? I'm in a bit of a desperate situation. I don't know anyone who doesn't drink. Let's do it. Let me go check it out. And there was a lot of things I liked about it. And there's a lot of things I didn't like about it. I love the idea that I was listening to other people's stories. I love the idea that I could talk about my own situation and there was no judgment at all. But I didn't like the idea that it was based around fear, around religion, the labels alcoholic or addict or recovery. I didn't agree with any of that. And that's fine. Not everyone will do. There's a lot of people who go there and they love it and it works. And if it works for you, amazing. There's many different ways up this mountain. However, for me, it didn't work. And I know a lot of you watching this right now will think the same. You don't want to go to that. Or maybe you've tried it and you think that's not for me. Well, that's why I came up with a completely different system. And for me, that's looking at the habit itself and looking at the psychology and the social interactions we have at breaking that, but doing it in the most positive way. And the first thing is to understand why we even engage with it in the first place. And it's because we get that reward. And the reward of changing how we feel on the inside implies that we're not feeling good on the inside already. Whether we feel bored or lonely or stressed or anxious or even feeling good and wanting to feel better. These are a lot of the triggers as to why we might drink or take drugs or even engage in other behaviors. So the first thing is to understand why we feel that way, and secondly, to replace the reward at the end of it. If we reward ourselves with something like alcohol or cocaine, it makes us initially feel better. However, over time, it makes us feel a lot worse, which is exactly why you're sat here listening to me now. So one of the best things you can do is to ask yourself, why do you drink? Because it's surely not to feel better, because if you were to feel better, like I said, you wouldn't be here listening to me now. And the thing is, when we get to the point where we start to crave that reward, trying to stop ourselves there is not a good way to do it. For me, that sounds awful. To crave something that I know I'm not allowed is only going to make me want it more. But instead, I change the reward, and therefore I will never be triggered again to drink or take cocaine. And once we understand this habit cycle and what the reward is, what the trigger is, and how to remove the craving, suddenly you break free from it. It's like a switch has just flicked in your mind. And something that's really useful to remember is that you didn't start like this. The relationship you have now with cocaine or alcohol or whatever drug it is or behavior it is, it didn't start like that. It's progressive and it gets worse because the more we have, the more our bodies adapt. Then the more we adapt, the more our tolerance goes up. And the more our tolerance goes up, the more we need to feel the same effects. And over time, it's going to get worse. And you realize that eventually a decision will have to be made. And you have the chance today to make that decision now instead of waiting until life makes that decision for you. It's only going to get worse. And the one thing I would suggest to you is to not make some big decision like I'm going to stop forever, because forever is conceptual. It does not exist. All you know is that right now, this habit that you're engaging in is not serving you right now. Right now, it doesn't work. So why not take a break? Give yourself a target, whether it be a week, 2 weeks, or even a day. Just give yourself a target of going, do you know what? I'm going to do it without this. And I'm going to give you the 4 things that really help with this. Number 1, which is exactly what you're doing now, is connecting with someone, listening to someone's story who's been through it, and even better, speaking to that person. If you can connect with someone and share your own experience as well with someone who truly understands, there is no judgment because there can't be. I have no judgment for anyone who drinks or takes cocaine or does any of this because I understand why we do it. And when you understand, you cannot judge. It's as simple as that. Number 2, accountability. Get someone or a group of people, or even set yourself a goal. These things will hold you accountable. Just by maybe letting one person know, or joining a community designed to help people, or having a coach, it makes it so much easier to reach that goal. And the thing is, when you get to the end of that goal, whether it be, let's say, a week or 2 weeks, you can then reassess and make a decision what you're going to do for the next 2 weeks. You don't have to make a big decision. Because if you take 2 weeks without alcohol or without cocaine, you're going to be thinking differently. You're going to make a different decision to what you would do today. So it's important to remember that the process changes as you go on. Number 3 is insight. And like I spoke about this before, the insight is so crucial to understand why we drink. Why do we take cocaine? What is it about us that we want to change? What feeling do we not like? Is it an emotion? Is it a person? Is it a place? All of these things can be triggers, and to gain an insight into the triggers and identify them and understand them means we can tweak them and change it. It's almost like going to the root of the problem instead of trying to deal with the cause. And when you get that change in perspective, it all looks a lot different and it all looks a lot easier. You know, I always say to people, if you think it's going to be a big challenge, you're probably going to make it into one. But if you see it as a very logical, straightforward thing where you just need to implement a few different things and look at it from a different way, it changes it. It makes it so much easier. And number 4 is self-care. This is the one that actually makes us feel good, and this is where the reward comes into it. If you're eating well, you're sleeping well, you're exercising, you're not spending too much time on your phone, you're getting out into nature, you're meditating, you're reading, you're doing breathing techniques, all these different things are designed to make us feel better. And remember, the reason why we drink is to feel better. The reason why we take cocaine is to feel better. So the reason why we do these things is to feel better. So don't underestimate the power of having a really good self-care routine. And if you put these 4 together, you connect with someone who understands, you find something or someone to hold you accountable, you gain a deeper insight, and also you practice self-care. Every single person I have worked with and seen put these 4 into place has broken free from it. And not to the point where they're months down the line thinking, oh, I could go back. No, they're done with it. And this is where fear-mongering comes into it. I do not believe in fear-mongering. If you live in fear that you might go back to it, eventually you probably will. But if you break free from it and you have a replacement set of tools to deal with life, the ups and downs of life which everyone experiences, suddenly it becomes a lot more straightforward. And I am now, like I said, 5 years into my journey, and it wouldn't even enter my mind to drink or take drugs, no matter what happened in the world. You couldn't pay me to go back to that. And that's the point I want you to get to, and trust me, you can get to it. So if you're looking to change those habits, remember those 4. Think about how they can be applied to your life and how you can do it from today. And trust me, when you get all 4 of those in place, it works. Now, the rest of this video is only for those who are truly willing to invest into getting themselves into my position right now. Getting yourself to a point where you are completely free of temptation and cravings. And this is where I want to talk about what I can do for you. So I have set up a few different things depending on how you like to work that can really help you see this through. The first thing is, if you've enjoyed listening to me on this video like this, I have a 7-day course of videos just like this where I go into such detail that are going to really help you understand exactly what you need to do to get out of this. On top of that, I've set up a Facebook community. In there, we do live calls 3 times a week with me, where we have each other to connect with, to share, to listen, and to help each other through. And trust me, that is incredibly effective at changing your situation. And I know it's scary, because it was scary for me, and it's scary for everyone else that goes into there. But just remember, everyone in there is in the same position as you. They want to have a better life, and so do you. And what it takes is the next step. You've already taken the first one by being here. All you've got to do is take the next one. And finally, for those who are truly committed, I have a coaching program. And that's where me and you work together. You get my number, we are together non-stop throughout the first month of your journey to make sure that you kick this for good. And trust me, it is possible. Even if you're sitting there thinking, not me, I can't do this, because that's what I said. And that's what I truly believed. I couldn't do this. And now I sit here feeling obliged to help you get through it, because I know you can. Now, if you're interested in any of these and you want to learn more, book yourself in for a free call with me. Either way, well done for being here, well done for listening. Trust me, you can do this.